Welcome everybody to the Get Bit Podcast, the podcast for blurs, for nerds. If you have a fandom, you are most certainly welcome here. We are your host of the show, of course, myself, Black Spartan, Short Guy Joe. I think we can both honestly say this has been a hell of a week. And of course, our third compadre to Fire TV will be joining us shortly. But Joe, how are you feeling this weekend, sir? I know we kind of been this our second day being on Saturday because life happens. But how are you feeling?
Living in constant fear for the next 2 weeks.
I'm afraid to ask why.
The voting.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing. Really quickly, before we kind of get into this, guys, please vote. Vote.org will actually help you with all your needs as far as registering, as far as knowing where to vote. Early voting is because we're in Middle Tennessee. Early voting is up until Halloween, so you have until the 31st. If you are in the Middle Tennessee area, definitely check it out. Early voting is actually happening in a lot of other states, but vote.org will definitely help you out to find that out for your area. But at the same time, guys, keep it going. As you can see, we are a little bit older. We do try to watch our language on the show, but words do fly. We do show trailers and movie trailers and video game trailers, which can sometimes be too much for younger viewers. So viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, let's get into it. We might as well start with this one because Monster Hunter's Wilds is starting to get ever so closer to being released. And they actually dropped... I'm sorry, what did you say, Joe?
Oh, I was just saying yay.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So they are ever so closer to being released. They did drop a more recent trailer with one of the monsters called the Black Flame. Here's the trailer for it.
Oh, is this it?
Welcome, travelers. I present you Azuz, the Everforge.
They're starting without us! Just look at that firebrand go.
We beckon the fire spring with our own hands.
No! We never wanted this to happen!
No stopping it now. Not once it starts flowing.
Why? This wasn't supposed to happen.
Black Flame.
Now, what's crazy is there's a lot of people that play Black Myth Wukong and think the bosses on there are hard. But as you can see, guys, that was the Black Flame, one of the monsters that you will face on Monster Hunter's Wild. As you can see, it is February 28, 2025 for all platforms. And of course, you can pre-order now if you would like to do so choose. But Joe, I mean, I know you're looking forward to it. I know I need to get on Monster Hunter, and might as well because I'm slacking. But with that monster and what's going out there, what's your thoughts on it?
I dig it. I see grinding out gear for the monsters and using gun lance and charge blade like you usually do. We're really looking forward to the beta that's starting next week. We'll see how that goes. See how far I get in Mech Warrior before I got to take a break on that because after Halloween also is Dragon Age, so there's like a lot of stuff back to back.
Oh yeah, Dragon Age Veilguard actually comes out too. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that comes out on Halloween.
Yeah. Weird that all the releases are coming out in October, which is kind of interesting.
This has happened before. It's like February. Everything drops in February.
Well, not everything, because it kind of goes into the transition of what to talk about, what our first bit of news to talk about, which we never thought we would put Spider-Man 4 and the director of Shang-Chi in the same sentence. What I'm talking about, guys, is Spider-Man 4, which Sony Pictures is producing, did give an official release date summer of 2026. So that is 2 years from now, with Destin Daniel Creighton directing. I apologize if I destroyed your last name. That name sounds familiar, guys, because he was the director behind Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, this was supposed to be the Russo's brothers, at least it was rumored to be. Of course, but the Russo brothers, as we find out a few months ago, were going to take over the next Avengers movie after Robert Downey Jr. was announced to be casted for Doctor Doom. So, with that being the case, guys, this is Sony Pictures that's producing it, not initially Marvel, because Marvel and Sony have a weird relationship when it comes to Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk and several other IPs, I guess you can call them. Now, I'm throwing this to you first, Joe, because knowing what that is, Tom Holland is coming back to reprise his role as Spider-Man. They don't really have a lot of information after this. This is supposed to be supposedly following No Way Home. And spoiler alert, if you didn't watch No Way Home, of course, at the end, pretty much Doctor Strange basically nukes the universe, and everybody forgets that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, including the ones that love him the most. And of course, he puts on the iconic suit, kind of drops the tech, and begins his story. But I'm gonna throw it to you, Joe. With that being said, that Spider-Man 4 is basically gonna be following No Way Home, that we do have a director that should be able to do this. Are there any concerns, or is it more like a wait and see?
I don't have any concerns. I just want to see what his plan for the future is. Are we going to be mixing with some of the Sony properties? Are we going? We're definitely going into college years, so that's what we could potentially get a new cast. Mm-hmm. Are we sticking with the classic suit? Are we getting the black suit? Like, there's a lot of questions we have. At least we know, confirmation wise, at some point we have the classic suit starting off. Mm-hmm. We're in the college years. I just don't know who the rest of the cast is. So if they cast new people, that means yes, Peter Parker is moving on with his life.
Right.
If real life girlfriend or fiance, I forget where they're at in their relationship at this point, if Zendaya returns, that means that they're going to be continuing the Peter MJ romance, and Peter's just having to get her back.
Yeah.
Or we get Gwen Stacy, because Gwen was college.
True.
And so was actual redheaded MJ. They were both college girls. Mm-hmm. Peter was dating trying to get with Betty Brant and other high school stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if we get a Gwen Stacy cast. It'll be interesting to see if we get a different an actual Mary Jane Watson cast as opposed to Michelle Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So, so much is in the air, and all we got is the director and the fact that Tom Holland will be back. So, I'm for it.
Yeah. I agree. I think more need. I think more. I'm with you on this one. That more information is going to definitely be needed. At the same time, Daniel Craig actually does a great job. I thought Shang-Chi and Legend of Ten Rings was great. I thought the fight choreography was good. The story, could
We
have
didn't
been
need a giant dragon fight. It should have just come down to him and his dad in a giant kung fu battle.
Yeah, and I get it, but also he is getting the wreckage of time, so I'm kind of hoping. I want. I guess the best way I can say is I want Shang-Chi to do well. I do. I want to do well enough to where he's a consistent character in the MCU, and not not in the She-Hulk territory. Not because She-Hulk was terrible. It's that I think people misunderstood She-Hulk or didn't really understand that the writing behind She-Hulk is exactly like the comic. But again, I digress. Tom Holland coming back as Spider-Man in this one. And again, that I agree with you on that one too, Joe. Not sure what Sony and Disney are wanting to do. It's always been this wall. Sometimes it's like I would love to see Andrew Garfield, get his third movie. I would love to see Tobey Maguire come back and reprise his role. I just think that don't get me wrong. All three actors who played Spider-Man all deserve trilogies, in my opinion. I don't think there's nothing wrong with all three of them. But Sony always has this. If Disney can do it, we can do it. The problem is they try to do it behind villains. Don't believe me? Look at Kraven the Hunter. That's all I'm going to say.
Kind of yes, kind of no. The way I've started looking at it now is Sony's Spider-Man is Miles.
Mm-hmm. Which is
because
fine.
that's the Spider-Man movies we get are Miles movies, which are nothing short of fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the MCU Spider-Man is Peter. And even Tom Holland says, like, I would love to bring Miles into the MCU, but it's like Sony won't allow because Sony Spider-Man is Miles Morales.
But Sony is also greedy. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Not as greedy as the mouse.
Not as greedy as the mouse, but never underestimate the other guy's greed. But that's the thing. It is where if they are going to do a merger, then and again, we have to wait for our third compadre because he's seen The Last Dance, and I was going to ask him some questions about that because they've always done this: will they or won't they? It's like, will they bring these characters over to where we can finally tell the story that we've always wanted to tell, or will it be separate? Will they just tease it? Because at the end of No Way Home, at the end of No Way Home, that's what we got. We got the symbiote, or a piece of Venom symbiote is now in the MCU. So it's like, you keep teasing this, will they or won't they? And on top of it, it's like, it's almost as if, do you guys want to do something? Or is it just the fact that it comes down between Disney and Sony just having an adult conversation and just doing what needs to be done? Because I'm going to be honest, I want to see that. I do kind of want to see Tom Hardy's version, although Tom Hardy did say, Venom The Last Dance was his goodbye. I mean, I thought he played a great Tom Hardy.
He already corrected himself. He now says never say never.
Oh, okay. So that means, never mind then. We went from never say never, so that means whispers were said. Something was put in his ear. Because, when they say never, it's like, oh, someone has talked to you. I'm not saying who, but someone has talked to you. But again, I would love to see it because, like I said, I love how he did. Outside of, because Venom, and again, not to go into a tangent, but let me say this before we go into the next bit of news. Venom was probably Sony's best success by average MCU standards. And I'm not saying that Venom, the first Venom, Carnage was okay. I love Woody Harrelson as Cassidy. I thought that was great. And I'm pretty sure when I go see The Last Dance, I'm pretty sure it's going to be good too. But I keep saying this the one time, the MCU is so grand that two corporations should figure out how to put the same IPs together and give us a story that we've always been asking for. It shouldn't be that effing hard. That's all I'm saying. But I know this is going to be interesting, Joe, that I'm going to bring up to you because this was actually because we did cover New York Comic Con. Again, a lot of news that came out because we covered the Creature Commandos information, which again will be on Max December the 5th. So I'm looking forward to that. But the last bit of news that did come out New York Comic Con that we didn't get to cover last week, that we're actually covering this week, is Mr. Kingpin himself, Vincent D'Onofrio, did announce that Daredevil Born Again will officially start streaming on Disney Plus March 4th of next year. Now, if you think about it in the long term, as we are now about to approach Halloween and go into the holidays, that ain't too far off. Again, this is probably going to be Disney's biggest bet. Reason being, they are bringing back the beloved Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, and others into Born Again. We do know the Punisher will be making an appearance. We do know that Jessica Jones will be making an appearance. It is unknown that the other group of Defenders at the time of the Netflix specials may or may not make it. But this is the biggest Disney show with the longest tenure of episodes. So a lot of expectations, a lot of hype. Joe, outside of that, anything else we can throw at it?
Shouldn't She-Hulk also be in this, considering
Yes.
they were officially a couple at that by the end of her series?
It is rumored. That I was not able to confirm whether or not She-Hulk would be making an appearance in Daredevil Born Again. That I don't know, but it is rumored. Which again, it should happen just because he appeared in She-Hulk. Why not She-Hulk appear in Hell's Kitchen?
Well, Tatiana, the actress that played She-Hulk, they've already filmed everything, so she's got to be there because I know her next appearance is going to be in Starfleet Academy. They already announced that.
Gotcha. Okay, but again, still love the idea that we are going to get it. Again, I think Born Again is going to be great. Aside from that, I'm just looking forward to see what they're going to do with his story, because after the story does, again, we'll follow him in the MCU, because I think he needs more than the 30-second appearance outside of No Way Home, but that's just me. But before we get to our impressions, because we kind of have a lot, because a lot came out and we all got spread as far as playing things, seeing things. So I'm going to start with this one because this trailer I actually found by accident. But it's got my attention just because of the vibes it gives. For all those that don't know, this is a gameplay trailer. The game itself is called an AI. If I mispronounce that, I apologize. An AI, Life After Gods.
Inaya, Life After Gods, is our upcoming Metroidvania-style action platforming game set in a wonderfully detailed frame-by-frame 2D animated world. In battle, our heroine Inaya uses double blades, a flail, and her gauntlets. Each weapon has its own moveset and skills, allowing for different playstyles. At the same time, these weapons are also used when platforming. You can switch between weapons at any time when you have them unlocked. This gives Inaya several options and alternative routes for overcoming the challenges in the game. The heroine can be customized using amulets and a skill tree. Essentially, you can create your own character build. Our story tells of Inaya's search for her lost tribe. She is accompanied by Sputnik, a small upgradable drone that helps our warrior. The decisions within the story influence its course and can lead to different endings.
Now, that was Inaya, Life After Gods. As you can see, it is coming to PCs and consoles. Currently on wish list. And like I said, I found this by accident. I was actually looking for other game trailers, and this one, I guess because YouTube, the algorithm decided that, hey, this might be good for you. And I was like, I'll give it a shot. Take a look at it. It does play like Metroid Castlevania, or it looks like it does play like Metroid Castlevania. But I'm going to be honest, I did add this to a wish list because I just want to see how it's going to be since it is going to PC and consoles. But Joe, I know it's your first time viewing that. What'd you think?
Well, she's punching legally distinct, not Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, isn't this the box art for Super Metroid's box?
That I don't know. My memory's kind of fuzzy on that, so I do not know.
I mean, it looks fine. It's a Metroidvania, so they're kind of all the same. Jump skillfully with the double jump.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot stuff, go back and forth. This is not my thing unless it's actually a Metroid. So, more power to people, but no, seriously, that looks like, let me look that up. That is like really bothering me.
You're gonna really try to see if they kind of hopefully they pull a copyright, which I wouldn't be surprised. But no, seriously, it does look great. It's one of those games, like I said. So what?
Kinda, it's like the image is flipped.
Okay. But my thing is, it looks like the type of game that just really just speaks to you. I mean, it really does. At the same time, I know for me, because I am a Metroid fan, I was like, as I'm waiting for the next introduction of Metroid, that does look great. But again, once it comes out next year, we will definitely give it a follow-up. That being said, Yakuza. So I know, Joe, you watched the first episode. Sir, what did you think of it?
Acting is good. I mean, the main actor is, let me pull him up. I mean, I should know this dude. I watched him for a whole year as Kamen Rider Drive. No, you're not that one. The actual Japanese actor.
All I gotta say is he in this?
Ryoma Takeuchi. There we go. Ryoma Takeuchi. Who?
I was gonna say, is he in this video we're about to play?
Yes, he's the one doing it. He's okay as young Kiryu. I don't think I would have him any other way other than younger Kiryu, because 10 years pass in Yakuza from the time he's in prison to the time he gets out. So he's only really good at playing Yakuza 0 Kiryu. And there's some elements of Yakuza 0, some elements of Yakuza 1, but like this is also its own thing, which I applaud the actor, or not the actor, the director for trying. But I mean, it's still entertaining. It's just not Yakuza 1. But I mean, Majima is at least the same. And, if you can get Majima right, you're at least 50% of the way there.
Does it entice you to watch another episode?
Yes.
Okay. So as I'm about to pull up this video, because you said they did get something accurate in this.
Yes. The Bakamitai scene where Kiryu goes to do karaoke, as we all do in the middle of organized Japanese crime life. Time at the karaoke bar.
This is going to be fun.
Baka mitai 子供なのね夢を追って傷ついて嘘が下手なくせに笑えない笑顔を見せた I love you もろくにはない口下手でほんまに不器用なのにどうしてさよならは言えたのダメだねダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いお酒でも歪まない思い出がバカみたい
I'm tripping off the fact that he got all the facial expressions down. That part, he had all the facial expressions down to the point where I didn't want to laugh out loud, but I was like, that okay. I really, really, really need to go back and watch that first episode.
They've already edited the. Someone's already taken this and clipped it to where the photo he looks at is the cast of Kamen Rider Drive.
Nice. Oh, still, that is interesting as all get out. But as our third individual to Far TV, sir, how are you?
I'm good. What I miss?
Well, not a lot because we did actually talk about a few things. Start off with we did actually show Monster Hunter Wilds trailer for the Black Flame, which actually looked interesting. But actually, we did also cover Spider-Man 4 news that the director, Mr. Daniel Creighton, will actually be covering it, be directing. Tom Holland will be returning, and we just had some thoughts because since Spider-Man 4 is going to be following Sony's No Way Home, I'm going to ask Joe. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Joe. Do you have concerns about this, or would you just rather wait till more information comes along?
I'll wait for more info because he said this. He already said the script needs tweaking, which means he at least is identifying the problem at first. But now let's see what we're doing because movies in general, when you get to a 4, it becomes, do we need this?
Pretty much. Also, at the same time, we actually were covering some guy. We actually did cover Yakuza. Joe did watch the first episode, and he was just giving his thoughts on that. And they actually had a karaoke scene, which we just played. And although my Yakuza games really didn't start past, didn't really parse past Like a Dragon, it was funny as hell as far as the karaoke scene they just did. But since I got you, because you were the first man, because Tafari, you are the man, the myth, the legend that everybody seems to know. And this man stays up with saying, keeping up with anniversaries and things of that nature, because I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot this. As he reached out to Mr. Silverthroat himself, Keith David, for saying happy 30th to you in the cast of Gargoyles, because I'm gonna be honest, I did not think it has been 30 years since the beginning of an anime that really was, fire from beginning to end. But yeah, 30 years. Dang.
I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised there was I didn't see anything for it. I was waiting for a post from Keith or somebody because Gargoyles did Gargoyles ever end, or is it one of those shows that just stopped coming on?
I think it just stopped. I don't think it really ended. I think it just stopped coming on.
So if you're a Gargoyles fan, it ended at season 2 because season 3 was backdoor pilot hell with the Goliath Chronicles, which nobody acknowledges.
Nobody
then they did a comic book, which nobody acknowledges.
Dang. Okay.
Now they're doing a new comic book, which a lot of people acknowledge because it's very good. But no, the series can end at season 2, and you're fine.
Okay, well, still.
And once again, the cat's baby shape is created.
Well, we still want to say happy 30th because, again, much like Batman the Animated Series and a list of other animes, other cartoons we could talk about, Gargoyles is definitely up there because it will make you want to sit down and watch it from beginning to end. But
yeah, one of the few cartoons I've seen where what is it? One of the main humans is actively hunting the Illuminati. I'm like, y'all were allowed to air this,
right?
Multiple times.
There was a lot of adult jokes that went over my head when I was watching that show. But still,
if you talk about the Illuminati now,
not to mention there is one other significant thing about Gargoyles.
What's that?
Half the cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation are main characters in this series.
Are they really?
Yes.
David Boreanaz is, or not David Boreanaz. God,
Because
what's the actor
Riker.
name? William Riker is Xanatos.
Yeah.
Diana Troy is Demona.
Mm-hmm.
Worf played Coldstone.
Yep.
The Wesley was played by Data,
Mm-hmm.
and also plays Pip. Pip the Thing. Someone else from Star Trek. The Queen of the Fairies was Captain Janeway.
Uh-huh.
I'm fairly certain Geordi played somebody for a hot second because almost everybody was in here.
LeVar Burton? Was LeVar Burton on? He probably was on Gargoyles.
I feel like he had to be in there somewhere. I don't know how far back they went in the past. I always did kind of want either like a sequel or prequel series about like their original relationship with the humans turning sour. Because I feel like they had a lot of material to work with that just didn't get fleshed out just off of childhood memory. And then I did like that if you watch the DuckTales reboot, they actually had like a full-on voiced by Keith David Gargoyles moment they saved for the finale.
Nice. Well, either way,
I live again.
Yeah, again. Well, we definitely want to sit there and definitely give its flowers to that. Outside of that, Venom, sir, that's what I was going to ask you, because you actually did get to watch Venom 3: The Last Dance. Sir, I just got to ask you, because I know you said in our group, I know you said in our comment group that, you said it was 6, but feel free to go to spoiler territory, sir. They know what they signed up for. What did you really think of Venom: The Last Dance?
Look, if I can give the Hideo Kojima review, I saw Venom: The Last Dance. But yeah,
that means he likes it because he doesn't talk about it. If he doesn't talk about it if he doesn't like the movie. So if he says even anything, the movie was at least enjoyable.
Is that how I'm supposed to take it?
Okay, no, that is actually how it works with Hideo Kojima. If he doesn't say anything,
I've been seeing creators do. I'm just going to give you the Kojima response when the movie's bad. That's So that's more so what I'm doing. Not so much Kojima, but an American Kojima response means that's the nicest thing I can say about it. And the -4 is because it's not a bad Eddie and Venom story, but the marketing, the title. I'm not mad at any creator who has been a part of these Hail Mary of promos that are all over the place. By all means, collect your coins. I'm not mad at y'all at all. But once I see the photos of the premiere stop before the premiere at the red carpet, that tells me a lot. So, and it just, you can kind of tell this had potential. And then there's just so many places where Sony was like, absolutely not, where they could have easily connected this to other movies or made something else. And I will say the payoff at the end was kind of cool. Okay. But then the power scaling, I'll say this, the bad guys, the first time I automatically use the words comically accurate. Like there's one part where one of the little, I don't know what that's supposed to be called, literally just like clears the stratosphere in like 2.5 seconds. And I'm like, you know what? Otherworldly dimensional being, I kind of get it. I don't know. Null was just there. There is, again, and I feel like Sony needs to be either by like some kind of government agency or SAG. Sony needs to be like investigated for what I feel like is like multiple bait and switches and just wasting people's time, as well as actors' potential to possibly damaging actors' potential to be put in other franchise projects because you sold them on something that wasn't actually going to play through. Like, it's not a Baron Mortal variant. They just casted that actor as that character just to try and get you in the seats. There's zero references to anything whatsoever. Anything you think you're like, oh, this could be connected to No Way Home, or this could be connected to another movie. There's like, you could see where the script was going in that direction, and then some Sony executive was like, no.
Gotcha.
Like, even the entire plot of why they're hunted down could have been linked to No Way Home, and instead they choose to link it to a very random moment from the first movie.
Gotcha.
Which, even if that's the case, like you could have done that for the second film, or explained why him being a red one was bad, which we still don't know why.
Pretty much.
They at least went balls to the wall with what symbiotes can do in this film. I will also say they very much pushed the PG-13 rating to its limit. Like this, I'm surprised with how much they got away with on this film.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
the symbiote stuff was cool. One of the side characters was just annoying because I also don't like the fact that she kind of got powers at the end because she's giving Pamela Isley before she became Poison Ivy.
Yeah. Okay.
And they also the whole everyone's just a dick to Eddie thing is getting old. Like I felt bad for what was the cop from the second one who was supposed to I think become Toxin?
Pat Mulligan.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Mulligan. I felt
Patrick
bad.
Mulligan.
Yeah, so like in the trailers, I'm like, damn, Mulligan's locked up. Then I rewatched Venom 2. I'm like, no, fuck Mulligan. Like, why was this guy such an ass for the entire film? Also, when did he even get infected with a symbiote?
When Scream, it was supposedly when Scream had pretty much blew his ears out.
And that's what I'm trying. Like, okay, she blew his. So what, was he hiding in there the whole time, or
Pretty much.
that I was so confused by.
Never explained that.
They really did.
That entire cathedral never got explained. They didn't explain the why the red ones are bad, or why Carnage has to kill Venom, or what that drive was about, or why they just they. So I don't know if he was supposed to be Toxin or what happened, but they pair him with someone else. Like, yeah, his symbiote left him. It's like so that just so off. All we got was the blue eyes, and then just off screened him for whatever reason. It's just
yeah. So and I've read some of the spoilers. So the Toxin symbiote off screens him, and he ends up with Lasher symbiote for no reason.
Okay.
Yeah, so that it wasn't bad. It's just now people are genuinely confused because that little line of dialogue goes by so fast. If you blink, or not pay attention to eat popcorn, you'll miss it. So everybody thought that was their version of Toxin, only to find out it wasn't. And like the symbiotes were cool, but it's just like if this is what y'all wanted to do, we could have started at movie 1 with this, like, or we could have done some of this in movie 2. And then the fight was cool. I will say the bad guys, again, comically accurate. Like, if you tell me there's such thing as a symbiote destroyer, they very much did a good job of portraying, like, hey, this is what their purpose is and why they make it look so easy.
So, okay. So I know you said you gave it a 6, but are you still sticking with the 6, or is it a lower score? What are you sticking with?
Solid 6. It's a good Eddie and Venom story, but just the way this property has been treated and the roadblocks they set up to keep them on this path to nowhere was it's very clear where they were just like, retcon this, don't do that, don't touch this, don't connect that. Like, it's just, they're very clear and deliberate moments where it's like somebody from up top walked in and just like, it's like whoever at Disney came in and took the dismemberment out of Jedi Survivor and that whole franchise, because apparently it was in there, and then somebody from Disney came in last one and was like, yeah, that's got to go. It's very much giving that. It's not the movie's fault. I don't blame anyone like involved. I fully blame Sony.
Understood, because well, we know what Sony does. But
we have no idea where this, like, both the end credit scenes give you basically nothing. I feel like they tried to retcon the No Way Home post credit scene. It just I don't know what the point of some of the stuff they threw in there was, just to be like, absolutely not. But and then we don't know where we're going after this. There's absolutely no kind of hint, heads up, or lead in. That's just it. It's just that I don't know what they were trying to do with it, other than like all the stuff they do give you that's kind of like, oh, finally. Feels like, are we just doing this so they can't use it with the MCU later? Like,
pretty much.
I didn't realize that's what the cracks in the sky was about in No Way Home. Like, these are all the people you'll never get to see on camera.
just because of what was going on. Well, that definitely does make sense. But another thing, Safari, you did point out, which again is a simple reminder that everybody needs help. What I mean by that is that, well, LeBron James, and I actually should have done a better job of trying to make this a wee bit better. But
I think if you right click, you get option to zoom, don't you?
Yeah, but my dumb tail went the other route. Oh, that ain't it. Okay, hang on 1 second because my whole screen just
You
sat
do
there.
that. I can talk about Star Trek because Lower Decks started this week.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Fantastic. All the previews you've been seeing are literally the first 5 minutes of the episode. We get a 2-episode premiere. We get going in a parallel universe first episode. Fantastic, hilarious stuff. I love that they continuously point out no one gives a crap if for the Universe 2 or Universe 1. We just need to figure this crap out because every single person except for Talin is easily annoyed with their doppelganger universe. The only difference between Talin and Talin 2 is one says fascinating and one says remarkable, which I love. God bless Vulcans. Episode 2, Boimler tries to be fun and it immediately backfires. So hilarious. Great start off the new season. Loving where it's going to go. I like that they've already set up what the overall arc is going to be. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Good to know. I still got to catch up on Lower Decks time, so freaking mind. Okay, sorry about that. Fixed it. So, because it messed up. I know I messed up my whole intro. So I always we always say here on Get Bit that you always want to help people out. Despite whoever they are, as long as they're asking for help, you want to be able to give them help the best way you can. Enter LeBron James. I'm just gonna read this because I know zooming in right now. Google don't like to work together. LeBron James had put out saying, "Hey, best place to order comic books from. Used to collect them when I was younger. Batman being my favorite. I can order and read from iPad, or best do straight off the comic." Here you have LeBron James, arguably one of the best players in the history of the NBA, a man who could literally have anything that he wants, and he wants to go back to his childhood. Don't we all? Sat there and asked for help to the interwebs and said, "Hey, what's the best way I can read comics?" And it's almost interesting that the universe turns around and a certain head of DC Studios says, DM me and I'll hook you up. And I don't know about you, but to have James Gunn say, "Hey, DM me and I'll take care of you," as far as where you can get comics, is like the greatest sign. And I know, but it's LeBron James. He has people for this kind of stuff. Well, here's the thing that you got to understand. I'm going to throw this to you guys as well. Despite if you have money or means or things of that nature, we all need a little help, especially in comic books. You may have collected at one time, but let's be honest, life be life, and you may have, the comic book store you may go to may not be there anymore. The comics that you used to have may have mysteriously disappeared. But we all need a little bit of help because everybody was kind of ragging on him in the comments of, "Dude, you got money, you can just send somebody somewhere and you can get whatever you need." It's like, why are you asking us? It's like you have the ability to do whatever you want. And it just makes me think that despite the income issue here, it does go back to the simple fact of, if someone is asking for help on where to get comics, shouldn't we just be nice about it?
Yeah, especially if the real question, we do or do not recommend him Ultimate Batman?
Oh, I wouldn't recommend Absolute Batman right now because that first issue ticked me off. That first issue of Absolute Batman ticked me off, but go ahead.
So no poor Bruce Wayne books for the Big Bron?
No, there are some stories in Batman where Bruce Wayne didn't start off as rich. It's just that Absolute Batman ticked me off.
Okay.
Yeah. To sum it up, and I don't mean to go down this rabbit hole because it's this whole thing of just you can take liberties with the dogma of a hero's origin. you can take liberties with it. That's how Gotham City Sirens comes. That's how Gotham City Sirens came along. It's why, if you really think about it, Batgirl and others, The Signal and other stories came along. That's completely fine. It's when you try to pull a Gotham inside of a comic book is where I have the problem.
Joe's face.
Because Joe knows what I'm getting at. It's like when my whole thing, and that's my whole thing. And again, I say this with all sincerity. I know I am not the 100% authority on Batman. I never proclaimed to be. It is just one of my favorite. It is one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. I am a fan of great storytelling. It does not always have to be the same, but when it gets so extreme, it's almost like, why am I even reading this? Because it's like it doesn't entice me. It doesn't entice. You know what it is? It's kind of like what's happening right now with some of the X-Men stories. Like, I understand X-Men has to go into a new direction post Krakoa, but I'm also understanding that I'm not the target reader they're trying to reach. So what may not be great for me may be great for somebody else, but I cannot, above all else, support Absolute Batman. I just can't. But what are you gonna say, Joe? Because you got that look on your face.
No, we're good. Let's keep going.
What comic recommendation do you have for LeBron?
What comic recommendations do I have for LeBron?
That's where we started. Yes.
That's where we started before I went off the deep end.
Because he said his Batman was his favorite.
I would say the entirety of the Scott Snyder run and the Grant Morrison Batman and Robin run, where Dick Grayson is Batman and has Damian Wayne as his Robin.
Okay.
The Scott Snyder run, the entire thing is fantastic. And if we want to get extreme, the entirety of Nightfall.
Nightfall was good, but
also we need to remember LeBron James has another title. He is one of the only dads in the continental U.S. that has yet to be ejected from his son's basketball game.
Well, true, but he also sat there and told his son he was already raising his son, and Dwayne Wade didn't help when he sat there and said, "I don't care if you aren't my son, I will trade you." I was like, that's just petty. That's just paid him.
I didn't realize that a player had the ability to trade other players.
Yeah.
They used to say that about Kobe all the time.
Yeah, they really did. Oh, that's what I was going to bring up. Also, Tafari, before we go into the next set of impressions.
That other title?
Yeah, we got to talk about that. But we're going to get to that. But we also did talk about Daredevil Born Again release date, which is going to be March 4th of 2025. So it's not too far down the road. We did say this is pretty much Disney's big crack at bat. This is a show that's getting all the star power, the most episodes that a Disney series has had so far. At the same time, the characters are all coming back. Do we have any concerns, or it's just like, hurry up, march, and get here?
I'm curious to what we're doing. How is the Mayor Fisk thing going to play out? Because I'm still confused as to what his mental state is after Echo.
They're adapting Devil's Reign.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly right. They're adapting Devil's Reign, where Fisk is the mayor and Daredevil is pretty much it's like a one-man army not one-man army because it's Daredevil, Luke Cage, and I'm missing somebody. It's like
it's where he becomes mayor of New York and bans vigilantes.
Yeah, that's it.
I hope then, if that's the case, I'm hoping we get a revival or a return of the Defenders. I still say the easiest fix for all of the Marvel Netflix shows. Mm-hmm. Everybody got blipped. Everybody was broke. Heroes for Hire is how they survived for 5 years. It is the easiest thing you can go to.
True.
Half of season 2 Luke Cage never happened.
Oh,
half can, half of it can't.
All I can sit there and say is if only, sir.
I feel like Bushmaster could still make a return. I feel like that's what I'm saying.
He's still good. I mean, I liked the old boy that did play Bushmaster. And I like the fact of how they incorporated Nightshade. I do like the fact of those elements. I just didn't like the way it ended. The ending is what got me annoyed.
I was confused as to I'm the sheriff in town and getting kicked out the barbershop. Everything happened so fast. But hey, just like a real pandemic, clubs were the first thing to suffer. So Luke would have been out of a job like a month later? That's the ultimate fix to that problem. It's just
true.
So Luke's out the club. Jessica's bad guys the last season was just their own decisions.
Pretty much.
And then everyone else, Iron Fist, has just moved on to the Iron Glocks. We're not throwing fights anymore. We just shoot people, I guess.
Which is kind of funny, which is how he picked up off another Iron Fist with the gun. So that's why I was like, really? It's like, Iron Fist could honestly get an overhaul, but you know what? I might have to say that. I might have to pin that topic for one day of how to fix Iron Fist outside of the fact.
Make him that Asian kid. Make him that Asian kid. That's the new Iron Fist.
Oh, the one of the 7 weapons.
Yeah, the one that's got the one that he was originally Swordmaster.
Yeah,
and got all of his family's ancient sword pieces embedded in his arm.
Oh, right. I mean, that could work too, but I'm still on the line of whoever it is. May he, all I gotta say is the greatest martial arts masters are available. Just throwing that out there. But I'm gonna leave that alone. But really quick before we get into John Wick and why Predator is bumping off Blade, I did want to really quickly talk about Call of Duty's Black Ops 6. Playing the campaign mode. This has been my re-entry into Call of Duty because last time I played it was Modern Warfare 3 because that was the last Call of Duty that actually had a campaign mode, which again I love because not everything has to be freaking multiplayer. If you're on the fence about this, it's the same as Cold War. It's still following that same story, that same set of characters. Really great. It's a long campaign, which again I love. But so far, the story will draw you in. The action is great. Shooting is a little bit iffy, but again, it just came out. I'm assuming patches will come along later, but still doesn't stop me from wanting to pick back up and play on that. So if you're on the fence about Black Ops 6, or if you're like me, you're just waiting to play campaign. I'm not really a fan of zombies I do play multiplayer, but Zombie Town, I'm okay on that. But again, it's a solid pass for me on Black Ops 6 if you were on the fence about it. At the same time, guys, if you were waiting for some price drops to happen for Assassin's Creed Shadows, especially if you want the collector's edition that has the steel book, that has the sword hilt, that has the art book, that has the statue of the 2 heroes, well, you are in luck. Just because Assassin's Creed Shadows had to change their release date, they are now knocking $50 off the price of the collector's edition. Instead of it being $280, it is now $230. Again, which I'm not knocking because a lot of people were looking for early access to the game. Much like Assassin's Creed games beforehand, they have been pushed back, they have been delayed, but for good reason. Definitely don't want to push out a crappy game. So I'm not against it. For me, I'm not really that much into collector's editions of video games, but hey, if you have $230 to borrow, if you were waiting for the price to come down off this one, you're in luck. This will actually be going out November 12th and not November 12th, February 14th of 2025. So I apologize for that. But again, if you're looking forward to it, there you have it. Now, before we get to Predator, I got to ask you guys this because John Wick has been talked about. We did show the trailer for Ballerina, which looks great. That could be a standalone movie or that could spin off the John Wick cinematic universe. Either way sounds good. What we do know is that the guy behind the helm, Chad Stahelski, did say there is a development of a feature anime John Wick that's coming out that because of the story, that this anime may cover the impossible task. Now, for all those that are John Wick fans, this impossible task was talked about in every movie. Now, for all those that haven't seen John Wick did this impossible task to basically be free of the high table. Of course, was pulled back in the first movie, second, third, and fourth. Now with this prequel coming out, I'm going to be honest. At first, I was like, we do need to see the impossible task, but because of the level of John Wick and the fact that every movie has to outdo the previous one, is anime the next step in order to tell this story properly? Because I think it is. But what do you guys think?
I think so. I think it'd be because you can get that same kind of action with. I think animation gives them more to work with having to do less setup and practical effects and explosions. You just make sure you get a good team, give them a solid work window, and just make sure that everybody you're bringing in is qualified or has at least the proper coaching to do good voice work.
Yeah. Joe?
I mean, it'll certainly save on the stunt budget, the stunt fight choreography, the stunts themselves. My only sad thing is now we don't get behind the scenes of Keanu Reeves once again doing a gun course and scaring everybody that he actually can do this crap.
True. Well,
he's a terrifyingly calm man.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you've been trained the way he was, you be calm too. I mean, you be calm too if you think about it. But no, I'm also in agreement. I think because it's the impossible task. Because it's the impossible task, you have so much expectation because now it's almost like the identity of the Joker. I never want to know it. It should remain a mystery. You can throw Joe Chill on there all you want to, but there was something about not knowing the identity that led to great storytelling. Now, do I think that we do need the impossible task? Absolutely. The fact that you're using the world of anime to tell this story, I think will help out a lot more. Just because of the fact of the matter, John Wick has always been over the top. He's always been, entertaining. And of course, he's always been a man of focus. So, and sheer will and determination. But I can't wait to actually get more on that because I really want to see the animation team that's behind that because that's honestly going to make all the difference. But moving right along, guys, I want to cover this as well because Joe brought this up, and me and Joe had this conversation in the group chat. But before I get to this, let me actually pull it up first because what actually wound up happening, because this is actually no longer a secret, it's actually confirmed, that Blade, let's be honest, has been moved to the indefinitely maybe it's not happening file of Disney. What Disney has done and said, wait, we want to go ahead and push a new Predator movie in Blade's place. Now, the synopsis behind this Predator movie, I know it's not showing here. I actually had to go get I had to actually go pull up the different clip that had that. Is that this next Predator movie is actually going to be going across 3 different times with 3 different Predators that are basically taking on their opponents in different timelines. Now, that also means that you might have a Predator facing samurais. You may have a Predator facing pirates. But again, this is all rumored as whom they may face. Now, what I actually said to Joe in this, because I have a hard time with Predator movies, just because I keep on saying for the entire time that they've always seemed to tell the same story, but how many times can you tell the same story and keep it relevant? And I did use Alien Romulans, for example. Joe did point out that the same thing with Alien movies. It's the same situation. You're basically going into an area where you shouldn't be, and at the same time, you're either running into xenomorphs or face huggers or alien queens or bull aliens or all the above. And which I understand. The thing about Romulus was they took a different approach to how they're telling the alien story. They focused more on the horror. They did focus more on the sound. Because it's Predator, this is what I've been saying the entire time, it's going to be difficult to keep people engaged in a Predator movie. And that's just my opinion. But Joe, Tafari, I know Joe's going to go ahead. Joe, I just want you to go ahead. Because I know you had a different opinion on that. But I just want to know what you guys think. If this Predator movie does move forward, is based on the rumored synopsis, is it going to be something that you want to watch?
Joe?
Well, I mean, I have the backing of Demetrius, so I already win this argument. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I do think that not aliens, Predators versus Pirates is really boring and dumb because it's just pirates trapped on a boat with the Predators. That's going to end super fast.
Mhm.
Depending on technological level, Predator versus Samurai seems really fun.
Mhm.
It just like I said, it depends on the technological level of the Predator or what he's got packing with him. It also depends on how accurate the samurai are because, samurai get a very romanticized depiction of everyone's using swords all close fighting. Lots of
Mhm.
samurai were either bow users or spear wielders. So there's that. But I mean, the predator being in the middle of the Bakumatsu or the feuding Warring States era seems really, really fun. Also, similarly, the predator showing up during the Inquisition. That would also be really, really interesting because they can interpret it. They can interpret the predator as a holy symbol, a creature of hell, or a divine being saying, "No, no, we're doing the right thing." The predator is killing all these guys, and these guys are heathens that don't believe in God. So therefore, we are doing right because God has sent this thing to prove that we are in the righteousness, in the right way with our Inquisition. So it's all different ways of how you can use the predator, except for pirates. It's just going to be him trapped on a boat with dudes, and that's going to be boring as hell.
Tavares?
I want to see the Flintlock story. Like, let me know that there were maybe not different time periods, but if you were to tell me the story of maybe a bunch of those pistols were issued out, and we're
Mhm.
seeing the story about the wielder of each one, and then we can get that original comic everyone wanted about the pirate who was basically hunted down by a predator, but then betrayed by his own men, and now him and the predator basically have to play the tag team against his entire ship on the island,
Yeah.
leading up to their final duel, and then him getting robbed, and then that's how they get the pistol they give Danny Glover at the end of the second movie. Or
I thought the pistol came from the Spaniards that were in Prey.
yeah, so that's what they switched it to. I'm saying retcon the retcon and tell me that there were just multiple pistols, man. Because originally
Here's how
that
I look. Go
Mhm.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll say
that's on you.
originally that comic was the origin story of the Flintlock pistol. So when it shows up in Prey, people were just like, good movie, but we still want to see that because that was like an enemy of my enemy, full on dogfight. We will fight to the death when we get rid of these people. And people are like, if this is what Prey is like, you can now it is proof you can take that comic and go insane with it.
I'm just
Here's
gonna.
how I look at Predator with pirates. It's just watch the last flight of the Demeter, and replace Dracula with the Predator.
Oh, the Voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, that was kind of
Last point. Thank you.
I
Yeah,
mean, the Predator-ish part at least took place after the mutiny and the shipwreck. So
Yeah.
he at least came in post boat. It
He's
also
got to
kind of
come
showed,
post boat. He can't
yeah,
be on the boat.
yeah.
If he's on the boat, the movie's going to be boring.
So Predator, I believe in the comic, is tracking him, but then the mutiny happens, and he thinks he's gonna go be able to finally hunt down this basically Jack Sparrow level pirate, only to see that his team is betraying him. So he bails him out, and I think this was the start of either I don't know if it's their genetics or the tech where they can mimic human voices, because he basically throughout the comic is hearing him curse his own men and just like repeats the swear words. So like take it, traitor, bastard. He like repeats little things he hears the pirate say up until the very end when he's kind of robbed of his final battle, and then he gives him the pistol as like thanks and kind of like he almost feels like he doesn't deserve the flintlock because he didn't earn it as a battle trophy, but he takes it anyway. But if they do these the Prey was good because it was the tale of two different species on their own trials. It was her trying to be part of her tribe. He was on a path to, I guess, kill the biggest thing he could find or the most dangerous. which I think was dope. I still think a samurai story was the fact that they didn't go for one after. I'm hoping Prey was a teaser of them trying to go full for a samurai story, because the fight that they did with the Yakuza guy in Predators, I think, was good. And I think then the guy, the comedian, Eric, I'm blanking on the rest of his name, who did the whole thing about like, what if it's like a master and a student Predator versus a master and student samurai in like feudal Japan era. That could easily be done. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you'd have to go for a long runtime if you're going to do 3 stories across 3 different time periods, where you could just do 3 time period films.
But I'll tell you this: as much as I keep saying it's the same movie, I want to say it like this: if the fight choreography was improved, like I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing one-sided. Like when you see Predator, it's one-sided. He camouflages. He does have weaponry. He can choose whether or not he wants to use a shoulder cannon. He can choose whether or not he wants to use his let's just call it. Thank you. He can choose that. But that would be different for me in a Predator movie. Like, if you're going to do it that way, let's make the choreography different. You can bump up the choreography, especially, like I said, I'm not against a samurai, because a samurai versus a Predator, you are going to have some improved fight choreography. I'll watch that, because that's a different story. It doesn't seem like the Predator's there, nobody's got a chance. It's not like Alien Predator Requiem, where old girl gets branded with the teardrop tattoo because she helped take down the alien queen. But that's my thing. Like, if you're going to do Predator, because we're not going to get another Blade for a while. Not after after Disney.
Yeah, giving us different fight choreography, showing us that like they haven't always been overpowered. The fact that this was the fact that this was a Predator who was like hollowing out the skulls of different like bears and animals to create his armor, and he has like older prehistoric. So showing them at different time periods and showing how their fight skills or their armor or other things are evolving is a nice way to pivot from just being hack and slash and rehash. Right. Even like even the Predator Black Panther comic, it's like, vibranium is a problem and we need to either go get more or find a way to stop it. And I think that's a unique take. But I think because even in Predators, you notice the Predator was literally right up on him when they were running away. Yeah. And he chose to have a square off one-on-one blade battle in the field, like Sekiro. So clearly, and they have a level of honor about them, and I would like to see that cultural aspect carried as well, because I think Prey did a good job of introducing.
You can make a Predator movie unique and interesting from it being from the perspective of the Predator for a change, because every Predator movie is, how do you deal with the Predator? We are the prey against him. Make him the protagonist.
I can go with that too, because you're telling a different story. I would go with that too, because it's a different perspective. That's the thing I've been asking for. Give me a different perspective. Give me I was going to say it's like a fighting game. Give me something balanced to where both sides are at their strongest versus one side just waiting to do the kill.
Yeah, but if you both have 360 pile drivers, it's boring.
Oh no, not 360 pile drivers, but I'm just saying the apex at that person's skill versus the Predator at his skill. And you're just basically seeing 2 different styles clash.
So like something different, especially because we know that there's like multiple types of them now. Give me like a Predator during exile or on trial, and his goal is to survive with like no weapons or armor for 3 days, and they drop him in the middle of like the Vietnam War.
What if he only has his blade for a weapon?
God, no, not the Vietnam War. I will not hear all along the Watchtower again.
But like something like the humans are at it again, drop him off in the battlefield, we'll come back in 3 cycles if you can survive, blah blah blah.
Although when you did mention pirates, my mind kind of went to Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, what if Jack Sparrow ran into Predator? I'm just saying anything to get Johnny Depp back.
We can adapt the Predator versus Wolverine comic where Wolverine keeps the Predator keeps running into Wolverine again, just like 30 years down the road. It's like, I've already killed you twice. What is going on?
I can see that too. But in all seriousness though, I would love to, I mean, we are gonna get a Predator movie at this point if we're getting another Blade movie. We've talked to death about Blade and the fact that Wesley Snipes is sitting right there.
No, that's actually part of the issue. Is a lot of people don't. I mean, a lot of people still want Mahershala Ali, but ever since Deadpool, fans want Wesley Snipes to come back and do a proper finale movie.
And we'd be okay with that. I mean, you can still have a finale. If anything we've learned, you can have a
blood hunt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could have that and be done, but it's like, but here's the thing. That the much as I keep on saying,
Blood Hunt, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, but that could work. The thing is, that could work. You can have Blade come in. You could have Blood Hunt. You can have Blood Hunt as a one-off. It doesn't have to tie into the current MCU run. You can have it as a what if. You can almost have it as a what if situation. It's really, and that's fine. But you can still have your Blade. Mahershala Ali, you can still have him as the new Blade. The problem is, as we've seen, can't seem to keep writers, can't seem to keep directors, and it just keeps getting railroaded. So it's just like, why not at this moment? Because now, let's be honest, Mahershala is not going to sit there and let other lucrative opportunities go by, waiting for Disney to get its crap together. And Delroy Lindo has already exited the project. So it's like, what do you got left?
I keep saying Sinners has the opportunity to do the most hilarious thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they do. I will completely agree with that. They do.
Just put Mahershala in the end credits and be like, sorry, I was tied up somewhere else. The vampires are dead? Mm-hmm. My bad. And then...
Sorry, I thought you were
my fault. I'm just making a Ryan Coogler is giving Marvel the middle finger joke.
Pretty much. But go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, the only problem we adapt Blood Hunt is we have to introduce Blade's daughter, and you know how people are with introducing young female characters. I mean, they are tearing apart Venom right now purely for the fact that they use the word they in it.
Uh-huh.
In the poster, and people are just coming out of the woodwork left and right, both for and against it. It's like, no, they've been using they as in two separate identities, not a gender scenario, as in they are two separate individuals.
That's just nitpicking at that point. Now you're just nitpicking.
No, so you'd have to introduce, I don't even know what her name is. Blade's daughter.
See, that's what I was saying, the whole thing about it being a one-off. You could, with almost next to nothing in repercussions, if you say this is a separate story from the timeline. You could literally go nuts.
What they could do is they do like they did with Werewolf by Night, make a black and white with Wesley Snipes where he's just hunting in New York and runs into Elsa Bloodstone and Werewolf by Night.
You can still do that. That would
and
work
then
too.
There's his retirement movie, and it's like, here's new. Mahershala Ali is like someone who he runs into. Is like, congrats, you're the new Blade. Go have fun.
But I don't think Ali. At this point, I don't think Ali is going to do it because he's been waiting. He's been waiting. The first test run.
How long has that kid been Ghost Rider now in limbo and can't get any work because Disney has him on hold?
He's still getting paid, but you're right. Disney's got that kid on hold for what, 2028? I'm pretty sure. I know it's not 2030, so I know it's before that.
Herschel ain't going anywhere if he's getting paid. If he's getting paid for play contract, he ain't going nowhere. He's got what's a good reference for people? He got WCW money. He got go home and wait money.
Damn.
And you know I'm not wrong.
Damn.
Wasn't Wesley supposed to originally play like a mentor role to Blade in like one of the original scripts so that they could have one there?
Well, that was the idea. He was actually supposed to. Well, one of the original ones was supposed to introduce all female characters as the leads, and he was in the back. These are all. There was a whole bunch of scripts.
Captain Caveman.
Yeah, they had a whole lot of scripts that never hit. Yeah, in cap, Chris is right. They announced the movie with no script, which is weird. Absolutely freaking weird. But that's the thing. It's like, how do you take one of, let's be honest, the sole reason we have an MCU, and I will argue that I will die on that hill. The sole reason we have an MCU is because of Blade. So I find it ironic that you would think for the literal fuse to what we have now, why is it so hard to do a Blade script when you have plenty of material? And I do mean plenty. But again, I digress on that one just because we could go all. I mean, we could go all night about this one, but
I think if Fantastic Four introduces easy interdimensional travel, just give us Ultimate Alliance, just cross dimension. Anytime, any character we haven't casted, just go back and grab who had them last.
I look at it this way.
Yeah.
Because we see Laura with Deadpool, and Deadpool is technically in the MCU now. He got all of his friends out of there and put them in the MCU world. So Wesley Snipes' Blade is somewhere in the MCU.
Is that what happened? I couldn't tell if he.
I don't know if that's what happened for sure with everybody, but Laura is with Wolverine in the end credits. So those two are together in Wade's apartment.
Yeah. That's why I keep talking. That's why I said when it comes to Deadpool, he is Marvel Jesus. He has earned the title of Marvel Jesus.
Or Blade is net. That or Wesley Snipes and Fox Electra are now part of the TVA.
That is also true. You never saw Bobby.
I'm like, are you just going to keep them down there, or are we fixing their planets now?
Well,
the worlds, now that we know
they're all from the same planet.
They're all from the same planet, but the TVA would have to know, considering the fact that old boy from Deadpool Wolverine was behind the whole thing. So they would have to know about the place with no time. I forgot what they called it. The place in time, or the place with no place in time. They have to know about it, is what I'm getting at. So it's not like
I just saw this entire problem.
What's that?
You introduce the Inheritors, let them hunt Spider-Man, and Blade hunts the Inheritors.
That's another way. But then you have to explain the Inheritors.
No, they're interdimensional vampires that have been eluding the TVA. They've been going after Spider-Man across realities as killing their anchor beings, and Blade's like, oh, they're vampires?
But are you going to introduce it through the TVA, or are you going to introduce it to a different vehicle?
Introduce it through the TVA.
Because that thing, I mean, the TVA has kind of been that, for lack of better words, the wormhole. It has been the wormhole to where everything has been explained because you are along multiple timelines. So
if we're using DS9 methodology, look how useful that wormhole was for multiple seasons.
Yeah, true. I mean, there's only one way to get to the profits. But
I was curious if they were able to fix their realities and go back, because even when they asked B-15 to kind of like, can you fix Wolverine's world? She never said she couldn't. She just told him no.
Right.
I think it's because technically is now the anchor being for this version of the world. So, but everybody is from the Fox world. True, with the exception of Wolverine, but he's the new Wolverine part of this anchor world by the end of the movie.
But she never did say that she could. That is a fair point. She never did say that whether or not his world could be fixed. But then again, I'm also rooting for Gambit too, because you can't tell me Channing Tatum did not have fun in that role to get something that you've been wanting for so long to finally hit the movies. And I'm like, how come this man was never allowed to be a part of the X-Men movies, nor was he allowed to get a solo run when the guy from Friday Night Lights and John Carter did?
Right.
I'm just saying. But we do got a couple of reviews before we get to our comic pulls. Really quickly, because I know Tafari, I know you caught up on the Penguin, right?
Yeah.
We are now episode 5, which means we are 3 episodes away from the quote-unquote finale. But as it was talked about on Blurred's Eye View, in the same way here, they are thinking of giving the Penguin a second season. The writing and the acting is just that good. But episode 5, as I would like to call it, Oz seemed to lose a lot. Lost his girl, lost his stash. Somebody got flamed, literally. Someone got cooked, literally. And at the end of it all, he finds himself back in the, not quote unquote the sewer, but a trolley station to where he sets back up again. So the one thing I'll say about Oz at this moment, he has the plot armor that would make Goku jealous. But I do love the fact that, again, this is still, it still pulls you in as far as this universe. And Colin Farrell, this man, I'm gonna be honest with you, if he's not in Oscar territory by now, I don't know what's gonna take. But yep, Cap, you're right. Che did have a blast with Gambit. But Safari, what did you think about the 5th episode? Because we're not too far off. We're not too far away from the finale.
I'm curious to where, because I know they said Rob's not in this movie, but I'm curious to where we see Bruce is starting to clock the power shift, because now they've basically officially formulated 2 different families splintered off of who we have now. Like her murdering the entire family at the same time he's splintering off was just great timing and plot armor and benefit to him. But I'm curious to see if there's ever a cross where his goons and her goons are like, who do we even listen to at this point?
Right.
But also the amount of people we eliminated, it's very much Deadpool. Do you know what they were doing to the budget? But we're all grieving. So things are getting intense. Oz is moving like less of a two-faced sleazeball and is just blatantly doing stuff now.
Yeah.
Also, if you are part of a crime family, don't post your location on TikTok. That's just common sense.
That was funny. That was funny. You acted hard until you put on the greatest, and I know I'm taking this away from Bird's Eye View because Cap, who's in the comments, said it best. You had to have the greatest set of noise-canceling earphones to have your back, and again, for all those that are wondering, never have your back turned to the exit or entrance of a room or a business. Always have it front forward, because noise canceling headphones are not that good to the point to where you pretty much tune out as your entire entourage is being taken out behind you. But
yeah.
But the thing about that is just that I do love the fact of, they're getting to the point now where somebody has to happen. And I keep on saying this. I've said this on Bird's Eye View. I will say it here. I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Vic's going to wind up taking one for us.
I hope Vic doesn't die, just because I really like that guy. He's starting to shine. Bruce selling to YouTube. He's learning how to move different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But him or Alfred, I don't need to see them like on screen. Just give me a silhouette of like season finale or something where we zoom out and just show all of the crime family shit just on a computer, and one of them is just silhouette watching TV, clocking it.
Yeah,
especially
just stays around.
Yeah, and I just rewatched the Batman. Oz was like as loyal as he's talking about being to Falcone. He was like threatening to off him in front of the cops when he got shot. So all this stuff about loyalty, he was talking big shit up until that dude got capped.
And that too.
Yeah, and then the police chief, he was the one giving the police chief who was at the house when the bodies got found, who was out of his jurisdiction, I think. He was also giving Batman grief, and he already was kind of sussing him out as being dirty and on the payroll, which this kind of confirms it.
Yeah.
So if we use this show as a good middle ground between each of these movies, I'm fine with this, because this is kind of up the intensity, and we still got 3 episodes left. Also, thank you for this is how you make full use of your entire runtime, because I thought once we moved back to the apartment in the slums, I'm like, well, roll credits, but then we get the extra 15 minutes of them like remembering it, and then remembering the trolley, setting up the new base of operations. I still think Vic is gonna kill his school bully outside, and that'll turn him into Zaz.
Mm-hmm. See, I thought you were gonna talk about Agatha all along. For a second, we went into run times.
I said when these two shows started, somebody's going to walk away with this learning a lesson, and it's definitely going to be Marvel because they haven't had competition up until now, and Penguin is keeping everyone hooked, whereas I'm dropping off the last 10 minutes of Agatha because it's all just black and white text credits.
That's true. But no, I'm with you on that. Boy, this episode, because episode 6 drops tomorrow, or 6 a.m. if you're willing to live up to that. But again, 3 episodes left. Somebody's bound to take an L. That's all I'm saying. What did Chris say? Still believes relationship with Gordon, not relying on Batman to draw for a show is a very good move. Yeah,
that's what I'm curious. We haven't. I know they want to keep. I'm surprised we haven't seen much of Gordon this show.
Yeah.
Especially because that he was one of the ones interrogating Oz in the first movie.
Pretty much.
I forgot Oz is technically bilingual, which people have been confused about the what is it? Because I know he speaks his mom in a different language too.
Yeah,
but he was the one who kind of helped them decipher the Riddler code.
Yeah, because it was in Sicilian. Because it wasn't Sicilian, and he helped them to understand. It's like it's an old nursery story or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Well, he's like, what is this guy, an idiot? He's like, I'm Sicilian, but I know a little bit of Spanish. It's L, not La.
Yeah.
And because he put El Ratalada, but the code was to figure out that it was a URL.
Yeah.
So, and then Penguin was kind of the one who's like, he's like, this is like, y'all pulled me all out of this crap for a language barrier. None of this makes any sense. But turns out he actually helped them solve the thing. And that's another thing. I'm hoping to see some kind of, I hope, because as shady as we've seen the GCPD to be between robbing Vic and showing up at the house when you already got the FBI there, I'm curious to see where he's at with either setting his kid or setting up someone to be an Oracle or what the deal is. Just, I'm curious to see who pops up and who doesn't make it, because this is almost mid-season or season finale material last episode, and I'm curious to see how much further they go and give us to work with before we segue into second Batman. Because apparently it picks up right at the end of this, and because it's like Halloween in the movie, this is right after, and apparently we're going to be winter for the next film, so we're all this is like in the span of 3 months.
Although if the next Batman is Hush, that's going to be interesting. That does leave that area. But
who is Hush normally in these stories? Because I was spoiled by Thomas Elliott in Arkham City, and then when they made it Riddler in the other movie, I was like thrown off. And apparently,
it's Thomas Elliott.
Right? Yeah, it's Thomas Elliott who plays Hush because he's opposite. It's basically a tale of two. It's basically a tale of two families. So the Elliott family and the family. But go ahead, Jeff.
It's Thomas Elliott, Clayface, because the first time we did Hush was also the first time we got resurrected Jason Todd, which just turned out to be Clayface.
Yeah.
Who was also acting as Hush, but then it turned out to actually be Thomas Elliott.
Right.
Okay, because when they made it with the corpse of like Riddler or somebody in the Long Halloween film, I was like, I thought this was a Thomas story. And I kind of liked how Arkham City and then Arkham Knight did it. And then Telltale kind of did their own thing, but he was just more of a Court of Owl story. Okay, so it is normally Thomas. So if that's what we do with it, then I'm fine.
Yeah, but Joe, I know because I watched Gundam Requiem for Vengeance on Netflix. Got to know your opinion on this one because for me it was okay. I've never really been a fan of the Zaku storyline. I'm really not really. I mean, it kind of tuned me out for a second. The action was good. Don't get me wrong. I still recommend actually for all those that are Gundam fans to watch it. It just really, I mean, I kind of had to focus a little bit more to actually watch this than I actually watch other Gundam animes. But what's your opinion on Requiem for Vengeance, sir?
This Gundam had plot armor thicker than Goku and Naruto combined.
Damn.
Now, I know for a fact I am a huge Gundam fan. I know a Gundam can shrug off standard Zaku machine gun fire. It cannot shrug off that many rockets hitting it or its shield and having nothing wrong with it. That I'm just like, I know where you are in the 1 year war. You very much specify where you are in the 1 Year War. GMs are just now a thing. GMs and Gundams are not that durable to your fire. In any other show, other than this one, I have never seen a GM tank that many hits and stay standing. I mean, yeah, he runs away and whatnot, but this Gundam is another version. They did specify he is a variant of the 08 MS Team Easy 8. Story itself, I really enjoyed. I always love a good small unit story. Zeon, it being Zeon is just fine. We don't have any major players from the main show, except for that one general that appeared for like a hot second. But I forget what he's from, but like he's from something. He has too much of a bizarre anime hairdo to not be from the original series.
Right.
Somewhere. Main character was great. I knew some of her platoon was going to get wiped out. I just didn't think. We're talking victory Gundam quickness, but a lot of stuff happened in this one. Sets up for a sequel. Would like to see where that goes with her. I would also like to see where we, if we're going to bring in any of the other end of the era Zeon, because we have now set up the Red Wolves, the Noisy Fairies, and the Midnight Fenrir's as surviving troops into the beyond the 1 Year War. So I want to see where we go if they meet up with any of them.
Okay.
That many two goof customs against that one Gundam. I mean, if you watch 08 MS Team, one goof custom was a problem.
Yeah, but I just
one goof custom was a problem. Two goof customs against that Gundam, it's like, and the Gundam getting over on them. It's like, now you got plot. Now you have plot armor. I accept the fact that you're a Gundam, but at this point, now you have plot armor.
Yeah, I had to focus. Like usually Gundam stories draw me in, but I had to really focus on that one. I don't know. Maybe it's just that was kind of feeling like a lull outside the fights, but yeah, story, dialogue, it almost drew me into sleep. I'm not gonna lie.
It had a lot of unnecessary characters. I'll be the first to say it. Like that doctor's story went absolutely nowhere and was completely unneeded. He was not needed in this series at all.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the other characters were fine, but like the only truly unnecessary character that they actually devoted time to was that United Earth doctor who's just like, I can save him. It's war. Like no one gives a crap who you can save.
Right.
If you're not saving my dudes, then what's the point of you? It's like, but I'm neutral. It's like no one can be neutral in this war.
You are with us or against her. Yeah, right.
Her just want to go back to her kid. I thought the main protagonist, great story. I like that she tried to use the mother's empathy with the Gundam pilot. Once you find out who the Gundam pilot is, I thought that was great. It was really enjoyable. I do want to see more. I just don't want to meet characters that don't move the plot forward and just kind of distract from what's going on.
That's fair. So the last review that we have before we get to our comics, just because we now know who Teen is from Agatha all along. We now know his identity. We know he's not too happy with Agatha. At the same time, it's the fortune. I keep wanting to call it fortune teller witch, but really, she's the one that actually winds up saving everybody. But at the same time, there is a discovery or a confirmation about who Rhea is. At the same time, the witches, I guess you could say troop or coven is ever getting smaller. with the self-sacrifice. Although I don't think she took out the Salem 7. That kind of remains to be determined.
No, they did.
Oh, they are dead? Okay.
I don't think
They
she
did.
got all of them because 2 of them can fly.
Right. So that's why I was like, I thought it was more like an indentation or just her trial. But now we've got thinking now at this point, you have, and again, Rhea hasn't been seen since 2 episodes in now. So the fact that they are saying that she is possibly deaf, kind of says a lot. But thoughts on the most latest episode on this episode, fellas, and at this point, who's the next person to go? Because we're not too far off from Agatha because she's got 8 episodes and this was 5. So we're not too far off from her either. But thoughts on this episode?
I liked it. Again, super short, but it was everything Lilia all at once. And the way they did a good job of telling the story out of order, but piecing it so that you're kind of following her the way she has been on this journey, this whole show, and technically her whole life.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she's basically the magic version of time slipping.
Yeah.
Loki. So she's basically mentally time slipping. She just can't control which version of herself at what time period she's sending information to. Like finding out that 2 of the blurt out she had were supposed to be the same sentence to try to prevent old girl from saving Agatha and getting herself killed. Seeing that, her teacher, without even skipping a beat, can tell when she is a little girl and when she is visiting from the future.
Yeah.
And still is schooling her like a kid. Like, you are limiting yourself. You've always been capable. Finding out that her original coven was wiped out by either the Black Plague or some kind of fever.
The Black Plague.
Also, I'm very curious as to what even is the road, because why are we like, why is this underground tunnel system built like a TV set, and why is the 7 just strolling through here like they just needing to get to set B?
I'm not gonna lie. I keep on wanting to compare the Witch's Road to Snake Way from Dragon Ball. Like
a little bit, but it's Snake Way with shortcuts apparently.
I would say it's because it's still in Westview, and Westview still has like residual magic from Wanda's television stuff. Would be why it's designed like that. I like the episode. Currently, the Potion Witch is going to go next because Rio's revelation was pretty decent. I also applaud Marvel for revealing deaths so late in the game, especially after Thanos is gone, because now we don't have to worry about Simp Thanos every single time he pops up. Teen, I love the fact that he was Maleficent. That was fantastic.
That was pretty cool. Yeah,
that was great. I love that Agatha's like is Elabeth, and she's like, she's based off of me, and like Teen just goes like, you're so full of shit.
I like the confirmation that Agatha has seen Finding Nemo.
True.
Right.
I mean, she's a witch. She's not a monster.
True, but at the same time, I agree with you, Joe. I think Potion is gonna go next. I kind of feel that way because there's only so many spots left, and because at the end of the Witch's Road, it's like it's the same thing for Agatha because when she first went down the road with the coven, how many people actually made it to the end, and of course she puts up one herself. So now it's kind of like along the lines of, are we going to see a repeat of that? Or because we're 3 episodes away, 3 episodes away, which the last episode I think comes out
next week. It's a 2-parter.
Is it a 2-part next week?
Yeah, so they're trying to line it up with Halloween. I remember because when we went to the early premiere, thank you, King Lion, they had the schedule up on the movie thing. So double whammy this week. But I hope that she is not gone because like the High Priestess, great power, unwilling to wield it. And I'm like, I hope that is a setup. Like, I just needed to get back to the universe. Like these first couple shows, and they were just sprinkling Wong everywhere. I'm like, so we connected. Like we're getting magic level, scientific level, and like Earth or interdimensional level and like ground level stuff with, like Secret Invasion and then Cap 4 and Thunderbolts. Then you get stuff with like Loki and Deadpool. And
oh my God.
What's up?
What?
Sam was right. It is the big three: aliens, androids, or wizards.
Yeah.
See that?
If they don't make a reference to that later down the line, because that's basically what we're setting up. We've seen the scientific version of time slipping. This is now the magical version. And then just things that can impact each other. If they were to at some point from like a government standpoint, but we need someone with magic and the High Priestess shows up, I wouldn't be mad at it. I don't want them to do in this show what they did to Yord and Jackie in Acolyte.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have a shield for magic, and that's one.
Yeah.
They do, but I just to add more people to the deck, especially now that we know that every witch here serves a purpose and a specialty. If it was to say like, hey, I'm not good with this, but I know someone or I can detect someone who is, cool. I'm also getting tired of the hard-headed Agatha. I'm too cool to let anyone in. It's like we know you don't like you. Like, stop with the facade and trying to get us all killed. It got old 3 episodes ago, but now the ask me any question, not that question. I'm just like,
it's like we know you're damaged. It's like we get it. You're damaged. We got it.
Like
we
see
the
the
other
real.
thing I want to talk about was back to Rio. I applaud that they made her death, because I thought the aspect of death in MCU was going to be Hela, because Hela never technically died on Asgard when Suter blew up. I thought she went back to her realm, and she's just going to be the aspect of death for MCU. But now that we actually have death, that opens a lot of different things around there, because like death is a major player in surprisingly quite a few books.
Yeah.
To quite a few heroes. So
I'm curious if I don't need the Thanos relationship, but I would like her to reference like, because everybody wants her in Mephisto, but I feel like not even a full-on reveal, a cameo from them being like, I've been involved in none of this. Y'all have done enough kooky crap for the last 37 movies. I haven't had to be involved. We just watch this stuff from the couch with popcorn, like a cross-dimensional war with like I have 2 Thanoses that aren't supposed to be there because y'all wanted to go and do time travel. I didn't do any of this. Which I would like a reference to the relationship of like, I now have 2 of the same person down there fighting for my attention. I don't like either of them.
no, I want the real death relationship. I want Death and Deadpool.
That would be fun to watch.
That could be why Thor is crying. He could be caressing Thor, and then Deadpool is seeing death behind him. But I did like the nod that Lilia is the one who finds out, because seeing so many disasters, she technically would recognize Rio more than anyone.
Also, I will say this much: the physical aspect they showed, it just kind of reminded me of Melina from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is that. I was gonna say I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I thought that came to my head when that came up. So that is gonna be interesting as far as what happens next. As you said, as Tafara did point out, it's 2-part because they wouldn't have wrapped this up on Halloween, but we will see come this week. So, what you got, Tafara?
Oh, I was like, speaking of books, Gerald's Journal, interesting read.
Yeah, nice.
Also, send me that code, Sega. What the hell is going on over there?
Because I know you did talk. I know you said this week that Sonic Shadow Generations was having problems with the pre-order or the early orders.
Yeah. So apparently, like I thought it was just me, but apparently it's like a thing on Play. One, stop ordering from limited run games. You were just playing yourself. I've learned my lesson twice already. Apparently they're sending out the pre-orders for that in bits and pieces. So like when you saw the stuff with the Dreamcast statue and the steel, that's getting sent out like a Waffle House order. When one part is ready, then you get it. You're not getting all of that together. The only thing you're guaranteed to get on release day was the code. Nobody got a code for the game. So if you bought limited run games, you're SOL. The code for the Sonic Adventure skin that comes with the game does not work. It does not register if you are on PlayStation. You cannot redeem it. You are also SOL.
Wow.
If you did the email sign up for the Sega newsletter or are already on it, the code to get the, I think it's the Sonic Jam. It's kind of an old 16-bit, not 16, old school Polygon costume for young Sonic.
The old 32-bit with the Sega.
That's what it is. 32, the 32-bit costume. Those emails never got sent out. So we have like 3 sets of codes that nobody ever got. PlayStation, I think, is the biggest one afflicted right now. I've never seen a fumble of this scale. The game is great. I've heard nothing but good things. It sold 1 million copies day one. Twice. This is twice now Sonic has released next to a Titan and has like stood their ground, because the last game dropped same day as God of War Ragnarok and still did well, like damn near evenly numbers wise.
I hear the shadow portions are being what's the terms? Being compared to Bowser's Fury.
Okay.
Which I also heard was good, because this is basically that version of that game for Sonic. It's just Sonic Generations plus some.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, that's why IGN give it a 9. The original one was an 8.5. You didn't really have much to go up from there except to just include this story. But the rollout for this overall year of Shadow and this leading in to build more hype for the movie and trying to throw Transformers a bone, which they finally are in the green, thank God. That movie, fire your marketing team. That's all I have. Yeah, and then even little tidbits like the reversible cover. So this is different than what's actually like on the outside. If you get the day one edition, I thought it was like a pre-order bonus they sent out, and I'm hoping it's the same for the Capcom collection, because I got it on Switch and PlayStation. But yeah, it just fits right. It's inside the game. So if you get the day one edition, Gerald's journal of the backstory of how he made Shadow is actually in here. It's a decent read, like a fun little lore piece. The game's good. It's just the damn digital part is just all screwy.
Nice. Well, with that being said, guys, we are going to go ahead and move on to our comic pulls. But before we do that, we always do want to show love to Rick's Comic City. If you are in the Middle Tennessee location, definitely check out Rick's Comic City. Nashville's #1 place to go to for comics, for memorabilia, for anime, for mangas, for Funkos, for collections, for pretty much everything. Definitely check them out. You can also go to their website at rickscomiccity.com. You can let them know the guys at Get Fit sent you. Doesn't get you any discounts, but you see our TV, you see our mugs on their televisions. They show us love, so we want to show them love. So definitely check out Rick's Comic City if you are in the Middle Tennessee area. If you are not in the Middle Tennessee area, guys, please support your local comic book stores, support your local libraries. They are the last places to where you can have an experience in reading comic books, mangas, all sorts of multimedia, because DVDs, kids, still exist. DVDs in libraries exist. Actually, some libraries carry video games now that I come to find that out. But
shout out Michael the librarian, because I didn't know that either. Yeah,
that they actually do carry video games. So again, guys, not only the fact that, again, we keep on saying this all the time, Barnes & Nobles is cool, Starbucks is cool, Amazon is all right, but there's just something about going to an actual comic book store or library and getting an experience. It's always a fun time. You meet new people, you meet new friends, get new experiences at the same time, guys. It keeps these places alive. This is why I keep saying about these mom and pop stores when they had video games and we had, EB Games, Electron Boutique. We had all these hole in the wall video game stores, and yet GameStop has came through and exercised them all. And I can't honestly blame GameStop. It's the fact of the matter, guys, that we stopped going to these places because, again, without us, these places don't survive. So support your local library.
Last game I ever purchased from a Toys R Us was Sonic Adventure 2 for $20.
Damn.
Yeah.
Again,
they will usually have movies if you can't find them either.
See, again, support these places before they're gone. But with that being said, Joe, I know you got the comic book pulls. Are you still need a few minutes, or are you good?
No, we need to talk about Dragon Ball Daima.
Oh, crap. Thank you for reminding me.
Episode 3 was...
Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Thank you for reminding me.
We get more demon lore. We go to the demon world. We get new lore. Actually, a lot of fun lore. I'm actually now led to believe because of that Deborah statue that
Uh-huh.
Deborah was actually a pretty benevolent leader and only made evil because of Bobbity. Because he just like got this giant statue of him chilling doing the peace sign on the third level of the demon world. I bet he was actually a pretty okay dude.
Well, remember, I don't know if it was filler or not, but there is like a scene of him in heaven with the rest of when everybody gets killed and sent to at the lookout, and he's like up
So
there
they
picking
actually did
flowers.
say that is that if he went to hell, he would have enjoyed it too much. So his punishment was being sent to heaven.
I'm curious because they say you still have to repent to go to either side. Because Frieza was just stuck in limbo, but he was up there with he was in heaven with he wasn't even in the tournament with Krillin and Tien and those guys. He was down there with
like Videl and Chi-Chi making
picking
flowers.
flowers, yeah, and having a grand old time. But yeah,
So
I think it further proves that like he wasn't necessarily a bad guy. He was just a long-time corrupted Majin.
We also learned that the Supreme Kai the Kais themselves may have come from the demon realm, which helps explain Zamasu so much more.
Honestly, yeah, if that's where you're picking the crop from, then yes. Also, I got very a New Hope Cantina vibes from the diner scene.
Oh yeah, I love that.
It very much was I don't like you. He doesn't like you either. And then the fight ensues. Also,
Goku's just like, hey, that's great. I want to eat my hamburger.
that we don't know what it's made of.
Yeah, that's one. I like that. It's like, what's it made of? Stuff.
He's eating the charcoal black Burger King burger.
No, really, the bun was like charcoal black.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to go back and go watch the episode because what?
Yeah,
It had legitimately good fights with Kid Goku.
Oh, wow. My mind is still back there as far as what did he say? What did he say about eating? But anyway,
the other thing I think I did not realize is this version of Goku, despite him being like still whatever age his mind is, this body is younger than the body he had in Dragon Ball.
Is it really?
So Kid Goku starts at 14.
Okay.
Because he goes through a year of training, 14 with the Tenkaichi Budokai, 15 is Krillin, and then 16 is Piccolo.
Interesting.
But everyone's technically a first grader, so they're all like 8 and 9. So he is technically younger than when he was in Dragon Ball.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense because when they told him to stop calling it a damn guppy or whatever he kept saying, I'm like, why do you keep? I'm like, did your mind age back with your body, or are you just being Goku?
Goku is just being Goku because all he knows is like fish is a fish is a fish. Can I eat it? No.
Also, Supreme Kai magic, I forgot, can transform body parts because the pointy ears thing.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird.
I'm sure that's a reference to something at this point.
I'm curious if that keeps. What I'm hoping is that's not the plot device that keeps the entire cast out of the show for the next 20 episodes.
Yeah. I don't know. It is Dragon Ball.
My favorite joke, I think, is like, oh no, they have bow and arrows. And then you're just like, they fall so slowly.
Oh, yeah, the air is thicker in the demon realm, and there's gas, kinds of crazy stuff that affects people's movement.
It affects everything. So, like, they're throwing spears and shooting arrows, and they're just like.
That's different.
Like, even Yajirobe can get out of this unharmed.
Yeah, I'm definitely have to go back and go watch that episode.
This was very, very fun. I think I'm really going to enjoy this. It's just the first episode. I did not need the full run back on Majin Buu. I know what happened. As pretty as the reanimation looked, nothing really happened in that episode.
Yeah, fair
Everything
enough.
was happening in these 2 episodes. So I'm really, really digging it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go back and definitely watch it because I did not get a chance to catch the second and third episode. I'm sorry, that's wrong. I did not catch the third episode. I did catch the second episode, but it's good to know.
All right, pay attention, LeBron James.
All right, Kermit. Absolute Wonder Woman #1. This is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman and colors by Jordi Belair. That explains so much. So this does not deviate as much as Batman does. Surprisingly, this only is the Amazons pissed off Zeus. Zeus seals them away. Hippolyta gives Diana to Apollo, and Apollo just like pawns Diana off on Cersei. Everything else pretty much happens normally. And she just becomes like, what if Cersei raised Wonder Woman? You get biker Wonder Woman on a Hell Pegasus. She's still Wonder Woman. She's still an Amazon. It's still Diana for the most part. She's just a little rougher around the edges, but nothing really changed. Oh, she can use magic easier.
So is this the last of the Ultimates? It's just her, Batman, and Superman, right?
Yep. But no, there's a Flash. There's a Flash coming.
Okay. So are we getting just an entire Ultimate Justice League then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, All In is the new line because it was something else, and then All In is what happens after Absolute Power. But Absolute is the world Booster Gold is in now is run by these version Darkseid corrupted variants.
Pretty much. There's another way I can say this about Wonder Woman. I thought Tom King was hit or miss, but yeesh. This is probably gonna be an issue because I'm like, okay, you're basically just saying that she was raised in hell. Okay. I was like, okay, it's first issue. First issues are not always knocks out the park. Let's wait for issue number 2.
I still feel you're more willing to move forward with this than you are with Batman.
Absolutely. Absolute Batman can go right in that same file with Amazing Spider-Man.
Which one? The 8 deaths of Peter Parker?
You know those two are going to end up working together no matter what.
Oh, yeah. No, we
actually will probably be looking at Amazing Spider-Man here shortly because we'll be going back to Amazing Spider-Man soon because the old team is finally out. Speaking of old teams out, Tom King has moved on from Nightwing. So this is Nightwing number 119, written by Dan Waters, art by Dexter Soy, colors by Veronica Gandini. As we can see here, we are a bit more of a old school take on Nightwing again. He is dealing with more costume supervillains than he is normally. He is more Nightwing than he is Dick Grayson. He's still in a good place with Babs, which is great. I don't think that needs to go anywhere. Still has the dog, still has the sister, all good things. Take what works with the last book, but toss out the stuff that doesn't work with your story, but keep the stuff that worked. And Dan Waters is doing that with this Nightwing. So I am going to move forward on my subscription to Nightwing. I thought this was enjoyable. I thought this was a good take.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I did like this because the whole premise of protecting the criminals at the same time, you have the guy who might as well look more like a puppet master, and I'm intrigued by how he's trying to go with that story. But yeah, I would definitely keep up with this one. It's a good issue.
Yep. Flash number 180 or 814. God, dyslexia just took over on that one. Also all in 14. This is written by Simon Spurrier. Art by Vasco Jorv, and colors by Matt Herms. As you can see here, Wally has gone on family vacation to Securitas, the world of the Overlord, which is also kind of like the what is it called in Marvel?
Savage World?
Savage Lands. Yeah, this is like DC Savage Lands. Meanwhile, Barry is officially retiring. And Wally gets a new suit, which I really like the design of. But something's amiss because Irie gets a hold of her dad's badge and finds out Wally's also in the satellite. So who's with her family right now? We don't know. There's the mystery. Or is Wally with his family and a doppelganger's in the satellite? We don't know yet.
The only thing I didn't like about this, I was like, if you're gonna do a Flash story, can we do it without it being campy, and can we do it without the family? And this first, I'm not gonna lie, and to not sound campy, but this first issue is campy. I still want to give it a second. I still want to give it another chance to see what. I still want to give it another chance to see what happens in the next issue. But this one did not inspire a lot. Well, I mean, yeah, they can't, but it's just, it feels like, how can I put this ever so nicely? It feels like every time there's an issue, the family's involved. Whereas you don't really need
that's Wally's thing.
But that's always been the thing that it gets lulled. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like how the new suit looks. Don't get me wrong. Love that design. But this first issue didn't really inspire a lot. That's all I'm saying. Still want to give it a
Wally's
still want to give it a
30-year run. Pun aside, Wally's 30-year run was all about establishing the Flash family. Jay Garrick, Bart,
Agreed.
Jesse, everybody. Now that Wally has his own kids, they're not intrinsically tied to the other speedsters, meaning they can tell different stories. So Wally's always been about family. It's like Barry's always been sad about mom until he gets too sad about mom and screws up the whole universe. Which, unlike him, he fixes his problems. So Wally being about family has always been one of the best things about the Flash to me.
Point taken, but like I said, I'll still give it to the next issue. This first issue just didn't really grab me.
Also, we should also be thankful that they reigned inside Spurrier. We don't have god awful confusing cosmic horror going on that we don't understand what's going on for 5 issues. We immediately understand what the problem is right now.
Fair enough. I mean, we do understand the problem is. It's just, again, for me, I'm just nitpicking about the story. I just want to see it hopefully be better on the next one.
Superman 19, or also Legacy issue 862. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art and cover up by Dan Moore. Dan Moore, of course, doing God's work like Daniel Sampere. All the artists named Dan in DC do God's work in terms of illustration. Colors by Alejandro Sanchez. Doomsday breaks out of hell. Both Clark and Lois, who now have superpowers as due to the fallout of Absolute Power, has some Kryptonian superpowers. I just don't know who, and I don't know if they said who or not. Goes to fight Doomsday. Lois is kind of shook because she remembers what happened the last time her husband took Doomsday on. And Time Trapper comes in. And he's a different Time Trapper. And his reveal is actually quite shocking.
Mm-hmm. That's the part where I was like, okay, that's a nice twist.
Oh, that is just Doomsday has punched out of literally punched his way out of hell.
Right.
And also that kind of confused me. So he punched his way out of hell and traveled to Metropolis, or are we literally saying Metropolis is the Hellmouth? And Doomsday just popped right up the ground.
Yes.
God, the artwork is just gorgeous. Moving on over to Marvel, Avengers 19, or also Legacy issue 785, written by Jed McKay with art by Farid Kamara and art by Federico Blee. The Avengers are now adjusting to a world where Doctor Doom is Sorcerer Supreme, and Doom just comes to them and with my guidance, you guys could be Avengers of the world and just like flat out take control. And the Avengers like, no.
That if the shit, I love this issue because I put it this way: if the argument for the ship of Theseus was a comic,
I also like that Doom just like flat out like, well, I was clearly mistaken, and Tony's like, I want this recorded.
that's the part I was thinking. Like, did we just really do the ship of Theseus into an issue the whole entire time? He's like, you guys lack cowardice. It's like, no, we don't want to rule. You do. And it's like, I will meditate on this. He just basically uses for devil's advocates, pretty much. Just it's petty.
Plus, no one tells Storm what to do.
Oh, Storm sat there the whole time, was like, you can pull up if you want to. It will not end well.
No. But no, great issue. I do like that. Well, I mean, it's Jed McKay. Jed McKay is the one who installed Doom as Sorcerer Supreme, so I'm not surprised this book deals with the direct fallout of that. But Spider-Man will also soon be directly falling out because of this, because we finally found out the storyline for the eight deaths of Spider-Man. So one of Steven's labors as Sorcerer Supreme is that he makes a deal with the demon god of Sidorak in order to protect the magical realm of Earth. Sidorak guards it, but he must do 8 tasks for Sidorak. Doom is literally pawning that off on Peter and gonna have to be constantly rezzing Peter because Peter's dealing with stuff that can and does kill him, which is why the upcoming new Amazing Spider-Man is called The 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. Also, he gets a new cosmic suit or magic suit.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
With the one scarf. So we will be looking at that too because old writing and artist team is out. New writing and art team in, and it looks good. Hopefully it reads just as well. Speaking of stuff, Iron Man #1, written by Spencer Ackerman and Julius Ota with Alex Sinclair as colors. We're back to basics. Something has happened to Tony where he loses all his money and his armor doesn't work. So he has to build retro armor because his tech armor just does not function and nearly killed him. Also, Roxxon is trying to take over Stark Enterprises.
All I got to sit there and say is, so if you've never seen the movie Iron Man, and I don't know how, but you always wanted to read it in comic book form, now is your chance to read it almost similar. I want to read this one because it is different. That you are completely right. He's kind of going back to retro armor. The fact that his Mysterium armor completely has a mind of its own. It explains itself in the comic. But yeah, I definitely want to keep reading this.
I want to take a look at it too. I'm not exactly the biggest Iron Man fan, but the way the last run of Iron Man dealing with Emma Frost always makes me want to read it because, of course, I'm biased with Emma Frost. But it made Tony a bit more enjoyable, and I wanted to see what the fallout was. And this was a decent follow-up.
Yeah.
Popping on over to Scarlet Witch, written by Steve Orlando, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Art by Lorenzo Tomeda and colors by Frank William. This is kind of a one-shot for Scarlet Witch, where she goes and helps Daredevil take care of a necromancer / zombie making ghost bricklayer of the New York subway system.
Yeah.
This was just a really good Halloween issue. I'll just say exactly what it is. This was a really, really fun Halloween issue.
And we keep on forgetting that Matt Murdock is a priest. This man pulled an exorcism by levels of that have kind of been a while. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot he did get born again as a priest. That makes sense.
And apparently knows Romanian burials
Yeah,
creeds.
pretty
That
much.
was a nice, fun thing. I even like that Daredevil even asked her, she's looking around that head a la God of War Ragnarok. It's like, are you sure we haven't dated? It's like, carry the deceased man's head, make it light up, and try to keep it those things. We haven't dated. Are you sure?
Right.
X-Men number 6. I actually really dug this one because once again, my bias takes over. Magic is the main center point of this one. I will always tell you guys when I'm biased and will favor a book. So, keeping that in mind. So Magic and Temper go and find a young new girl who is a mutant after a lot of back and forth with Hank, who's still kind of doubting himself because he's trying to play catch up to old Hank, but doesn't want to turn out like old Hank. But those two go and find the girl, and she may be the one responsible for the giant sentinel. And the other reason why they're stepping Magic up in this is she's about to get her own solo spinoff. We will, of course, be looking at that because I would be remiss not to. But I enjoy this one because it lends in the backstory to the town, and more Magic stuff is always fun.
It was okay. I'll be honest about this issue. It was an okay issue.
Okay. And written by Jed McKay. Pencils by Netho Diaz. Inker, Sean Parsons. Colors, Marty Garcia and Cifuentes Sujo. God, I hope I got your name right. That's it. That's everything fit to read. Yay. Also, Void Rivals 13 came out and started the new story arc. But I didn't want to look at it because I was lazy and didn't want to do a lot of books.
Sir, you had a week, and you still got a week going. It's understood. But with that being said, as we wrap this up, guys, we do want to always thank you guys for watching, for liking. We know this is the second Saturday. Apologies. Life be lifing. We will hopefully be back next Friday. Next Friday at our usual time. But again, thank you for commenting and hanging out with us, guys. I'm going to start with Tafari first. So let people know what you're doing, sir.
You can catch me here on all platforms. I finally got my setup going. So if you caught me earlier, I've officially started my walk and talk stream. I am actively chatting with you all while playing retro video games and getting my life together on a treadmill. Sounds complicated. It actually isn't. It's a lot of fun. Also, you can catch me. I'll be here in Dallas. I'm at the Sonic Expo that will be beginning of November next month. They have Lee Majou, who plays Stone from Sonic 1 and 2, who will be there. Jason Griffith and a couple other voice actors. Going to go see what that's about if anybody wants to hang out in person. I post on Mondays on all other platforms to make them a little less terrible. Currently making fun of just how, or 2 skits out now about Jujutsu Kaisen manga readers can't be trusted, and just the evolution of Sonic Team over the course of these last 7 years. Another one doing a bit of an Office Halloween parody in a couple days. I know I'm forgetting something else. That's all I got. Oh yeah, first of the month is when I usually tell you rent is due and another chapter of the Convention Survival Guide drops. So that is it for me.
All right. Joe, want to let people know what you're doing, sir?
Shooting lasers and committing war crimes in the name of Smoke Jaguar. Client over on Total Justice Gaming is. We continue to play Mech Warrior 5 Clans. We did horrible things on Turtle Bay, which we cannot discuss. But we're on a new planet now with much more happier times. And twice the lasers as I'm slowly getting into heavy mechs. Other than that, you can find me and Tafara every when we post episodes over on Show Guy Joe. I was going to say every Wednesday, but I post them normally on Fridays since I'm off. Where we are looking at Ultraman, we're going to be off this week again because we get another recap episode. But the new episode, I believe, is up or going to be up later. Where we look at his new form and power up, Ultraman Arc Galaxy. Man's playing with portals now. Other than that, Twitch is where I usually stream Street Fighter. But right now, I've got like 3 games lined up on over at Total Justice Gaming with Mech Warrior, with the Monster Hunter Wilds beta, if I can get into it, which I'm fairly certain it's open, so I should be able to. And then Halloween Eve, I will be playing Dragon Age Veilguard, which is a bit unusual for me because I don't really do fantasy games all that much, but like D&D style fantasy. But Dragon Age has always had a soft spot for me because of excellent voice work and excellent storytelling, so I hope that continues to stay. Other than that, I'm also with Middle Tennessee API. Please go vote. We just had a big, huge voting initiative. As we said at the opening of the show, please go vote. Go to vote.org. You can find everything there. I think that's everything at the moment. God, I'm so tired. I did a 6 day straight thing at work. I know that doesn't sound like a lot to you, but when it's healthcare, your senior coordinator is gone and you're the one training 3 new hires for 6 days straight, you're very tired. Very, very tired.
Oh, you didn't tell them how long your shifts were.
Depending on any given day, it was either 8 hours, 13 hours, 9 hours, except for Thursday, because Thursday I had a dentist appointment, so it was only 5 hours. But then, like I said, all my hours varied. I'm very tired. Still trying to put out content for everybody. Falling asleep on the couch at any given moment.
If y'all need a hand, I'll move to Tennessee. I got nothing else going on here.
Man. All right, guys. So what's up?
You may see Will and I at us at Nashville Multicon.
Yeah, Music City Multicon is coming up.
Music City Multicon over in Lebanon. You may see us there. Please come say hi. I do not bite. Unless you have sushi in hand, then I will bite.
He will intimidate the hell out of you.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I said, but he will intimidate the hell out. He will intimidate the hell out of you. I'm going back
Probably not, because I can't fit into half my cosplays at the moment.
We had the Mr. Knight. For all those that don't know why I bring this up, really quickly, Joe had on the Mr. Knight cosplay, and 3 guys who are my size. For all those that don't know, I'm 6'2", 300 some odd pounds. These guys were bigger than me. Were afraid to go to Joe and simply ask him to take his picture. They were literally intimidated because of the way he was standing. Which is why I tell Joe all the time, if he ever wants to look intimidating, just stand there and don't stand there, hands folded, don't move. Instant intimidation level has went up a few notches.
Just stand there tired, broken, half asleep.
Yeah.
Tired, broken, half asleep.
Half asleep. But yeah.
Apparently there's going to be quite a few wrestlers at this Music City Multicon.
Well, they usually are, because that's kind of the bigger con since, let's see, October. I think Nashville Con comes. Well, Nashville Con's dead and gone. So I think after this one, I think we're kind of out till next year, ain't we?
I think so.
Because the reason why I say I remember Music City Multicon is because they really stocked up on arcades. So again, if you have a bunch of kids that love arcade games, they actually are. They did what they did last year, where they actually took the one of the halls that were there at Lebanon and basically turned it into an arcade. Trust me, the price of admission is worth letting your kids go run wild in arcades. Plenty of vendors, and I say this all the time, guys. This is not a guarantee, and I don't mean this making it sound like a PSA, but it's not guaranteed. Vendors hate taking stuff back, which means if you catch them at the right time, you actually might get a good deal. This is not a guarantee. Just all I'm saying is be aware of the situation when you're walking around. You never know.
Yeah, that's Sunday when Artist Alley is closing.
Yeah, because the one thing vendors hate And again, shout out to all the vendors that do come to these cons. You guys are the real MVPs because that's how I got most of my Gundam kits and everything else for my kids. I don't mind going broke. I don't mind going broke for my niece and nephews. I always use that as a way of motivating them to get good grades. So I'm always happy to blow an exorbitant amount of money at a con. But again, check them out. Support the vendors. Support the cons. Again, fun times.
One other thing I got going on. One last thing.
Go for it.
This is a Middle Tennessee API thing. We are partnering with the Frist Art Center. We're going to be doing a secret project, possibly dealing with some video game stuff for their upcoming myth to manga Japanese art exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
So we may be having a fighting game tournament, which I'm helping coordinate. Maybe Street Fighter with the side of Samurai Showdown. We've yet to figure out the logistics, but I will be helping out at that as well.
Sweet. Well, I guess it's my turn. So before I do get to myself, guys, I always want to shout out BlurStation.com. I keep telling you guys we need a place that is for us, by us, to where our content drives currency into our pockets. Tubi is great, but Tubi is owned by a guy who also owns Fox. And Tubi is now worth over $1 million plus because of our viewership. We can do the same for ourselves, and Blur Station is definitely the place to do it. Definitely check out BlurStation.com. If you do like what you see, hit the Join Now button. And at the Join Now button, select the Blur's Eye View Affinity membership. You can select myself, Black Spartan, or Tafari TV, or anybody there. We would certainly appreciate it. $10.99 a month to basically stream Blur Station. $10.99 a month. After 36 months, you will have the ability to own a piece of Blur Station. And it doesn't get any simpler than that. Also, at the same time, guys, please check out Always Press Record or APR TV. Why? Because our show shows on there, and other shows that you may enjoy also show there. Again, another avenue for our content to go into our pockets, because again, it should be us that owns our content. It should be us that we're be able to be the money makers. And trust me, our content, our viewership has created titans out of networks. If it wasn't for us, there wouldn't be an ABC. You name it, it's only happened because of us. So definitely check out APR TV, whether it's on your smart device or the Roku app, which means that you can watch us from the comfort of your own home. We would certainly appreciate that. Now, as for myself, guys, you can find me, Black_Spartan615 on the interwebs. Pretty much, podcasts can be found where podcasts are seen or heard. You definitely find the Get Bit podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, that's still a thing, or Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or just also Spreaker as well. I keep forgetting about that one, even though we upload that. The link at the bottom will make that a little bit bigger for you guys to see. If you copy and paste that link in your browser, it'll take you to our YouTube and Facebook pages for these podcasts. Like, share, subscribe. As the good Reverend Navy would say, a like and share and follow means everything and costs nothing. So again, we simply cannot do this without your support. That also being said, guys, the con season is still going on strong. As Tafari TV did say, he has now 4 videos, but I like to repeat 3 rules that are simply put will help you in a con. Number 1, respect the cosplayer at all times. Cosplay is not consent. Please treat people like human beings, which means be nice, be kind. You don't treat them like pieces of meat. You don't gawk at them. You simply treat them with respect. It's not that effing hard. Also, cosplay is for everybody, regardless of your height, weight, race, preference. The only rule that we have for cosplaying outside of not harming anybody or just simply, being indecent, no blackface. Don't do blackface. You won't get your ass kicked at a con. Simple as that. Rule number 2, I know people are bringing hygiene products to cons. As helpful as it is, guys, we should not be able to do that. Please wear clean clothes. Please actually have a good bath or shower before you come to these cons. If you haven't noticed, COVID cases are up. Flu cases are up. Why? Because we're getting to that season. Good hygiene prevents less cases. So again, please wash your ass, brush your teeth, hit the scope a little bit before you come to these cons. We'll be forever grateful. And the third rules that I have for myself as I have for everybody else, guys, in a world that is cruel and unkind, be nice, be kind, share your fandoms, don't be a dick, and we'll all be cool. But as we wrap this up, guys, we will, hopefully be back here on Friday, same Get Bit time, same Get Bit channel, with the news and video games of the week, as well as our comp pools of the week, to basically entertain you guys. But with that being said, guys, any last words we call tonight?
Send my code, Sega, and Sony fire everybody.
Oh, Sony should be firing everybody after. You know what? Let me not say that because I don't want to mess up the grand line. But Joe, any last words?
I'm probably about to fall asleep.
I was gonna do an Alan Costello joke for a second. Well, with that being said, guys, thank you all for watching. I've been Will, he's been Tafari, he's been Joe. This has been the Give It Podcast, guys. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and we will hopefully see you next Friday. Peace.